Still at the Arnold Classic. I'm Scott from Armsportvideos. And sitting with me now is one in a long line of great Canadian female arm wrestlers. Canadian champion and world champion, many-time provincial champion, Tamara Mitts. Hi, Tamara. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. I'm glad we finally got a chance to sit down and talk a little bit. So I have videotape of you way back in the 80s. When did you start in arm wrestling?
I think my first arm wrestling tournament was November of '86.
Of 86.
When I competed. That was my first arm wrestling tournament competing. The first tournament I ever went to was July of '83.
Okay.
And I watched.
And you just watched in July of '83. So why'd you go and watch?
Actually, it was the Nationals for Canada at the mall that I was working at in Toronto, and saw it and watched it and met a bunch of arm wrestlers, and then went back there 2 years later, did the same thing, met the arm wrestlers again, and then got involved.
Cool. Okay, so when you first actually started competing, how did you fare right at the very beginning? Were you very good?
Oh my God, I sucked. Okay, I grew up in Toronto. A dumbbell was non-existent in my life.
Okay.
And when I picked up my first dumbbell, I was told to start doing wrist curls to get my wrist and my hand stronger.
Okay.
And I couldn't even wrist curl 5 pounds.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was a basketball player, I was a runner, I was a baseball player, but when it came to weights,
Nothing.
Didn't happen. Didn't happen. My weights were beer bottles when I was 16.
Okay, so how long did it take you to start to really excel at the sport of arm wrestling?
Well, I started competing at the end of November of '86. And then I was going to, back then, there was like a tournament every weekend in every little hick town there was. And so we were hitting all these different little towns and going to tournaments. And in May of '87, I tore up my arm pretty good in a tournament. I ended up having my arm wrapped and tied to my body because I didn't go for surgery. And so I was out until September or October before I actually put my arm back on the table. And then did the marriage thing, got pregnant, had to lay off the arm wrestling, and then came back into it, did a little bit, then got pregnant again, came back, did a little bit, and I really didn't start training seriously until about halfway through '93.
Okay. Okay, so when did you win your first Canadian title?
'94.
94 was your first Canadian title?
Halifax, I believe.
Yeah, Rick McNee hosted in Halifax, yeah.
Yeah, and then we went to Sweden for the Worlds.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you do there?
I came fourth.
Yeah? That's pretty damn good. Your first Worlds, yeah.
Yeah. I was disappointed in myself, of course, but...
Well,
yeah,
but... Okay, and so when did you win your first world title?
In '96 in Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach, '96?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did that come over? Tough classes?
Yeah, I was weighing 121, and I had diet down, and I don't know, I think there was like 12 girls in my class. It wasn't as big as some of the other girls' classes, but it was there. And I went undefeated right to the finals, and I won, and it was unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Don't knock yourself, because 12 competitors in your class is a pretty damn good sized class.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
I mean, you can be in a class and have 3 competitors, and they're all top world notch competitors, and do nothing.
No, exactly. Exactly. So, outstanding. So, how many Canadian titles do you have now? Do you know off the top of your head?
No.
No.
Mostly right arm, a few left arm. I don't know.
No? Okay. So you're here at the Arnold's this weekend. How did you do today?
Today I went against a girl from Kansas City, Ray Lee, which I've never competed against or seen, so I didn't know what to expect. I won that match fairly easy. I think it was a lot of adrenaline because I didn't know what she was all about.
Okay.
And then I had a bye, and then I went up against Margie from Nebraska, and went in. She took me over, I elbow fouled, restart, took me over, I elbow fouled again, so I was pretty mad at myself. But I'm still in it for tomorrow. I'm on the B side, so there's Tanya and myself on the B side and Margie on the A side.
Okay. So I guess tomorrow, as a sneak preview, you have a super match coming up against Tanya in Halifax, April 4th. How do you think it's going to go tomorrow?
It's going to be interesting because because the super match is lined up. She has probably been training real hard and watching, seeing. She knows what I do. We arm wrestle quite a bit.
Okay.
So she's gunning for me. She wants to see where I am and focus on what she needs to work on, if anything, for our super match.
Yeah.
And me, I know that I've done very well against her 99% of the time. But yet, there's always that little bit of percentage where she could come out of the woodwork and do something, or I could be too cocky and think, oh, I got this in the bag, and then she'll do something against me. So it's a different situation because we're going to be up against each other in a month. We're going to the table with different thoughts in our heads than if we were just at the Arnolds together.
Yes, definitely. Well, definitely, because if she's fortunate enough to win tomorrow, you're going to leave the table thinking, okay, now what do I have to do to get more prepared for her?
If she beats me tomorrow, then I'm going to be the grumpiest person going back to Canada, because then I have to focus on the next month and what I have to do for that super match.
Yeah, to prepare differently than whatever you've been doing up till now.
That's right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So the $1 million question out there now is women in arm wrestling. I hear promoters all over the place complaining that women don't come out, women don't come out, women don't come out. So as a woman arm wrestler, what needs to be done to get more women out? What do you think, anyway?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out, and I completely understand all the promoters when they only do one weight class because of the money factor.
Yeah.
I completely understand that. It's frustrating as a smaller female to be going into an open weight class, but it's completely understandable. What we can do, I don't know. I really don't know. I know finances, it's really hard for everybody. I have no idea. I've been trying to figure that out on my own. I had a great sponsor who is a professional photographer here in the States, and he wants to have an all-women's tournament.
Okay.
Right? But he's got a lot of money to back out, and that's going to draw a lot of people. Will it still draw a high number of girls? I don't know, because you have so many girls that are up here and so many girls that are new and upcoming, and it's almost like their egos won't allow them to come and just try, and that's where you get better. Even if you're going to get beat, you get beat in the tournament, but then we all arm wrestle afterwards, and we show each other, this is what you need to work on, this is where you feel good. But I don't know. I can't pinpoint it to one thing, like why our women count is so low.
Okay. So the other thing that I've been made more aware of over the past year and a half, 2 years traveling, is that, and you travel an awful lot, so you travel more coming down to the U.S. to bowl than you do in Canada. So is it because there's not enough tournaments in Canada for you? There's not enough women?
It's a combination of both. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of money tournaments in Canada.
Yeah.
And for as long as I've been in the sport and the amount of money that I'm putting into my training, I need to get money out of where I'm going to go. Mike Gould's, there's money there.
Yeah.
And that's all I can tell you right now when it comes to money tournaments. Yours in Canada.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I get a sponsor, which I've had for the last 4 years, I take that money and say, okay, this is where I'm going to go for the next year. I'm going to divvy this money up, and I'm going to go to a competition where I can possibly win money anywhere from first to third, and then that money is going to go back into my pot to give me more opportunity to go to another place.
Okay.
So, and the girls in the States, they're awesome. They're driven. I'm not saying the girls in Canada aren't driven. They are driven. But we've lost a lot of our good girls in the sport. And me personally, the new girls that are coming into my area, I'd rather see them battle it out and get the confidence and get the drive, and me help them, than me going to a tournament and winning a trophy and taking it away from them when it, that might sound cocky, but
no,
I don't want to do that. I want to encourage more girls coming into the sport.
Okay.
The girls on the East Coast of the States are totally different from the girls on the West Coast. So when I go to Nevada, I love going against those girls, and I finally made it over into the New York area, and I go against those girls. They're all driven. They're all like crazy hyper, like they're new in the sport, and they have adrenaline going through their blood, and they're fired up. I don't know. I love coming to the States and competing.
But also, I mean, if there's more chance of competition for you and better competition for you,
Right.
then...
And when I do come to the States, if there's a 0 to 143 class and then there's a 144 in open, 9 times out of 10 I go into both the classes. Because if I'm traveling all this way, why not go into both classes?
Yeah, okay.
That's the way I look at it. It's training. If I'm going to spend $500-$600 to go somewhere for a week in arm wrestle, I want to get as much arm wrestling in as I can and get this arm sore. So when I'm going home on the plane, I'm not carrying my bag with my arm.
Okay, I hear you. Okay, so you're in the semifinals tomorrow. You have Tanya Todd, and if you manage to get past Tanya, you have Margie in the finals. Okay, so what's next for you? What do you got coming up?
Michael Classic at the end of March, and that will all determine if I actually arm wrestle there or not, depending on what happens tomorrow.
Okay.
Because if Tanya pulls something out of her sleeve and goes right through me and beats me, then chances are I'm just going to be spending the whole month training and going to the Gold Classic to support Michael because he's a good friend of mine, and getting ready for the super match in Halifax.
In April? Okay, and you're going to Nationals this year?
Going to Nationals this year, yeah, because I want to go to Italy.
For the Worlds, okay.
Yeah.
And finally, Canada's had an awful lot of really, really superb female arm wrestlers. Is there any reasonable explanation for this? We've had great women arm wrestlers come out of Canada.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. I'm like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yourself and Joyce and Jose Morneau and Barb Zalepa. God, see now, if I try to name names, I'll forget.
Carolyn Fisher is Canadian, and now she's in the U.S. with Alan, and she rocked the world when she started.
Yeah.
And you have Sharon Brandy's out in BC, who started a long time before I did and took some time off, and now has come back into the sport. There's another girl from Sudbury, Ontario. She was amazing. She went to Vegas and ended up winning Vegas for the Over the Top.
Oh, really?
She was from Ontario.
Okay, cool. So,
but I don't know why.
No, it just seems like the women in the Canadian women in arm wrestling have really made a really solid name for themselves. But listen, I appreciate taking time sitting down and talk to me, and all good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
And I'll see you at Mike Gould's.
You will.
All right, for Tamara Mitts and Scott Davis, and we're out. Thanks. Thank you. That wasn't that difficult, was it?
No.